All right, guys, welcome back to the Everything College Football Podcast. Today, me and Nick here have been giving our final NFL mock draft of the year, a complete 7-rounder before Thursday's kickoff. There's a multitude of trades that might go down this week that would really shake things up. This is also the most unpredictable draft in recent memory, so a lot of things will be sorted out, a lot of inaccurate, but this is how we're feeling at the moment. Kicking things off, number one, the Jaguars. There's 4 players, according to Trent Baalke, that might go here. For one, I think at the end of the day, they'll come to the conclusion that Ikem Ekwonu is the best pick. A very great run blocker, great strength. He's also an adequate pass blocker as well. Early on, you can put him in at guard, eventually work him over the tackle. I think this is a great pick for Jacksonville, number one. Number two, Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit. Dan Campbell, the player he really likes. Violent hands, very good run stopper, exceptional pass rusher, like what Aiden Hutchinson does. The Heisman runner-up at number 2. Kayvon Thibodeau at 3. I think he's the top player in this draft. Relentless off the edge, great length. He can collapse as a run blocker. Does a lot off the edge with great bend as a edge rusher. So Houston Texans get Kayvon Thibodeau, big-time addition for the rebuild. Number 4, the Jets. They went offense the first 4 picks in last year's draft. Robert Saleh is going to look to get back on track with some defense here. The ultra-athletic Derek Sting. They come in man coverage. Durability is a bit of a concern, but he's on the field. His impact is certainly felt. The Giants at 5 getting Evan Neal, a phenomenal pass blocker. He's got some issues with leverage and balance, but I think with some coaching, he'll be just fine, and he'll be eventually one of the top tackles in the league. At number 5, the Giants shore things up. Nick?
At 6, the Panthers are taking Charles Cross, offensive tackle from Mississippi State. Extremely polished in pass blocking, fantastic first step, difficult to beat around the edge. Lacks a little bit in run blocking by virtue of Mississippi State's offense, but great football IQ, great addition to the Panthers. Number 7, the Giants grabbing Trayvon Walker, the edge rusher out of Georgia, flying up people's draft boards. Really tested well at the combine. Very solid player. Really love his speed for his size. Phenomenal speed to back it up. Great quickness. Really terrorizes offensive lines. Would be a great pick for the Giants. Number 8, Ahmad Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, 6'3", 190 cornerback. Very solid in coverage. I like the way that he works. Second best cornerback in this class. Teams don't really throw towards him. He's very talented. Can break up plays. Number 9, Jermaine Johnson from Florida State. My favorite player in this class, slots in at number 9. He has it all for me. Stood out an awful Florida State defense. Quick off the ball, amazing length, variety of moves, and makes him one of the best edge rushers in this class. Number 10, the Jets taking Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. Arguably the best athlete and prospect in this class. He falls a little bit just due to positional value and how top-heavy this class can be at times. He's a unique player capable of doing just about anything on the field. His IQ and instincts on the field are the best in college football. You can plug him anywhere on the field, he's going to play, and this would be a great pick for the Jets defense that could really use some help.
The Jets got Stingley and Hamilton. That'd be unreal. Moving to 11 at Washington. Garrett Wilson, Ohio State. Washington can go either way, but I think an athletic pass catcher for your new quarterback Carson Wentz would be a great add, especially with Terry McLaurin's future uncertain. Number 12, Trent McDuffie. It's very low in the box, very fluid in coverage. Trey McDuffie, the Minnesota, makes a lot of sense as they need help at corner big time. Number 13, the Texans. One of the most coveted players in the draft, based on a lot of the rumors we've been seeing. Speed kills, and that's what Williams does in the slot. Whoever gets him, Williams, the Texans at 13. Number 14. He's not the biggest, not the strongest, but he's got great. It's hard, and the Ravens need to beef up their interior. Linderbaum would do a great job in doing so. Number 15, one of the most athletic corners in the class. He's got wide receiver-like ball skills, very fluid in zone. I think the Eagles upgrading corner with Booth at 15 would be a great addition to this defense.
At 16, the Saints take Matt Corral, quarterback out of Ole Miss. Corral really blossomed under Lane Kiffin's offense, became the first QB off the board for me. Corral has significant talent in the passing and rushing game. He can rejuvenate any offense with his athleticism and decision-making skills. He has pinpoint accuracy with his throw, quick releases. I love the leadership he has. He really brought the turnovers down this year, got more comfortable on the field, made a lot less mistakes, matured a lot. I think he's the best quarterback in this class and should go off the board first. At 17, the Chargers taking Jordan Davis out of Georgia, freak athlete with elite speed despite being 6'6", 340 pounds, unmatched in his run blocking ability, really breaks up the play. You can double team him and he's still going to cause an impact on the play. A little bit tired, get tired easily, he's a two-down player, but the football IQ is there. Would be great for the Chargers. Really need the help on run defense. 18, the Eagles taking Drake London out of Southern Cal. He's a big play threat across the board. Outstanding football IQ. He can win those contested catch situations. He fits well in the slot or outside. Great runner after catch as well. Incredible ball skills. At 19, the Saints taking Chris Olave. They partner Matt Corral with Chris Olave. Olave, one of those wide receivers that is a fantastic route runner, the best in this class. His ball skills are superb. His run after the catch is also top-notch. Very versatile player. He's a big play waiting to happen. At 20, the second QB off the board is Malik Willis going to the Steelers. It's tough to grade Willis at times. There's some film that looks terrible. There's some film that looks great. He's a dynamic player. He can use his legs if needed. He's got an eye for a big play, and he has control of the offense. But he makes a lot of mistakes sometimes, a bit sloppy with the ball, and his footwork and his film is really poor at times. But he has potential to be a great QB in the NFL.
Look at Patriots, Nakobe Dean. You talk about football IQ. He fits that to it. But when it comes to linebacker, being a leader, making the right play, Dean does that. Patriots would be a great fit. Green Bay, Treylon Burks at 22. Some people have Burks falling out of the first round because of a poor combine. I don't see it. When you watch tape, you see him use every bit of that 6'2", 6'3", 225 frame. Pretty good yard after catch ability for that size. Great leaping ability. Great grab. I love Burks. I think he's going to be a good player. 23, Arizona. They can go a few different ways here. I think Roger McCreary, though, they really need the upgrade corner. He'd do a great job in doing so. Press man corner. He's very sticky. He was one of the best in the SEC last season. McCreary, the Cardinals, would be a good fit. Number 24, Daxton Hill, the Cowboys. They're going to look to upgrade safety here in this first pass catcher. I think Hill, though, a guy who can play slot corner. He can play in the back. He's got a lot of athleticism, a lot of growth there from Hill. High upside player. Number 25, the Bills. They have kind of the luxury of doing whatever. I think Devontae Wyatt would make pass rusher. Got plenty of size to clog the gap against the run. Wyatt to the Bills would be an A+ selection.
At 26, Kiara Elam, the cornerback out of Florida, can play. He's a straight, talented outside quarterback. Fits really well in the zone scheme. Has great athleticism, great ball skills. A little concerned about his tackling, but that can be worked on. The Titans need a quarterback. This would be a great fit. 27, Kenyon Green from Texas A&M. A bit of a tricky player to figure out. The former 5-star recruit who had an up and down time in College Station. Very versatile, playing all over the offensive line during his time in college in Texas A&M. Good in pass blocking, shines in run blocking. Very talented. 28, the Packers' Berhad Rami, the Central Michigan tackle. Limited experience as he only started playing tackle 2 years ago, but he's got great versatility and arm strength. The power is there. If you work on it and build him up, he'll be a great offensive lineman over time. 29, the Chiefs, Jaquan Brisker, safety out of Penn State. Chiefs has back-to-backs picked here, and this would be a great fit for them in Kansas City. Brisker's a really talented safety and fills a role that the Chiefs need. Versatile player, can play all over the field, can also play some special teams if necessary. At 30, the Chiefs go with Jahan Dotson, the wide receiver out of Penn State. The Chiefs, they go from defense to offense here. Dotson, speed, big playability, shifty route runner with great separation. I love the ability here from Dotson. He rarely drops pass. He fights for the ball. I think he would be a perfect fit. Pat Mahomes throwing the ball to him. Talented player. The sky's the limit.
31, the Bengals. They've done a pretty good job this offseason beefing up their offensive line. I think they could continue to get better, though, with Zion Johnson. I think he's a high riser. They'll probably end up going higher than this, but he's a phenomenal run blocker. Great fundamentals. Very good kid. Johnson of the Bengals, he is pretty much a lock for the first round, I think, at this point in time. And then rounding out first round, George Karlaftis. The Lions, we need a lot of help in the edge rushing department, so if Karlaftis is there, I think it's a good fit for them. A guy with a high motor, a 3-down player. Got plenty of room for improvement, but he really shined in the Big Ten. I think Karlaftis would be a great fit for Detroit. Dan Campbell would love to have him. Kicking off round number 2, the Jaguars, Arnold Ebiketie. Plenty of length, great bend off the edge. There's some negatives to his game where he gets taken out by double teams. Sometimes he overshoots, but I think Ebiketie's a high upside pass rusher. Makes a lot of sense to Jacksonville. Number 34, Detroit. They just 2 picks in the first. They have number 34 here. I think they use it on a pass catcher, Sky Moore. He's got great quickness, tracks the deep ball well, smooth inside release. Makes a lot of sense to grab a slot receiver here and more. The New York Jets, Trevor Penning at 35. They went defense for the first 2 picks in the first round. They could turn around and get Penning here. That'd be a fun start to the draft for Robert Saleh and company. He's very explosive. He's got great strength, high upside tackle, and Penning. 36, the Giants. They grabbed a tackle in the first. I think they'll go ahead and grab another one here in the second. Daniel Foley, kind of all over people's boards, but 6'8", 400. I think he's dropped off a little bit of that weight, but he's still a complete brick. He's very powerful as well as a run blocker, an immediate upgrade for a team that wants to get the run game going with Saquon Barkley, hoping that investment still pays off. Pretty solid athlete, too, for being that big. Number 37, the Texans, Kyler Gordon at corner. Very athletic. He's a pretty good man corner. He's a pretty good tackler as well, I think, out of Washington. They have 2 solid corners that go inside the first two rounds.
Yeah, 38, the Jets taking David Ajabo, partnered with Aiden Hutchinson all year at Michigan. He has freakish bursts. If it wasn't for an injury during the draft process, he'd be a top 10 pick. Has a great motor, improved greatly in the run defense. The Jets can afford to take a gamble here. The upside is huge. The Bears taking Tyler Smith, the offensive tackle at Tulsa, a high riser in the draft process and fits well with the Bears. He's aggressive, and that's clear on the tape. He plays with good balance despite being huge at 6'5", 320 pounds. Fantastic anchor ability, really strong offensive tackle. At 40, the Seahawks taking Kingsley Egubar, the edge out of South Carolina, experienced edge rusher during his time in Columbia. Great first step with some explosiveness, good length, can run around the corners. Doesn't ID blocks the best and sometimes lacks football IQ, but in general has the potential to be a great edge rusher. Seahawks again, Darian Kennard, the offensive tackle out of Kentucky, projected to be one of the best guards in this class. He has some serious potential. He has high football IQ, played 3 years of SEC ball in Lexington. He lacks some of the experience in traditional passing sets, just given the value of Kentucky's offense, but he's a great fighter and great toughness and has the tools to succeed. 42, Kenny Pickett, the quarterback out of Pitt. The Colts have one of the most NFL's complete rosters, and they seem to just be a quarterback away from competing for a title. Kenny Pickett looks to be that guy for them. Pickett had a great career at Pitt and showed great decision making. His ball placement has improved over time and his release is good. His mobility is a bit underrated. He can make plays with his legs if need be. He can scramble. We saw it in the ACC title game. He has great leadership. His mechanics are definitely there. So people question the size and the sample on film, but in general, Pickett has real potential to be a star in the NFL.
Makes sense because Ryan, a year or two, he's at the back end of his career. So I think Indianapolis 43, boy, you can do a lot in the pass rushing department. The Falcons need a lot of help. They have no depth, no rising talent at all in the edge rushing area. So that would be a great pick for them at 43. 44, Christian Watson, one of my favorite players in the draft. 4.37 speed, great hands, great size. He's separate. Also, not with speed. I like Christian Watson. Number 45, Devin Lloyd. Every year, guys fall when they Lloyd. Maybe one of those guys ends up falling. He does a lot, though. Someone is very good with great range. He's got football IQ. He can play in coverage. He can also come off the edge if you need him to. I think Devin Lloyd is a phenomenal player, but unfortunately, every year, talented ball players fall a little too far. Minnesota Vikings, I think this would be a great start to the draft for them if they could get Logan Hall here in the second round. Versatile. He's got strong legs. Can take on double teams with ease. Minnesota. 47, George high on Pickens as other people, but he can win jump balls downfield. He has the size to win inside on slant curls as well. Did not play much last year after coming back from that torn ACL.
48, the Bears taking DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M. Leal was Jimbo Fisher's first massive recruit at A&M and soon became a pillar of the defensive line. He's impactful on the line, has strong hands, great first step. The flexibility is there. 49, the Saints taking Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Left tackle had great potential to be a long-term star in the NFL. He has great football IQ and the hands improved throughout his career in Columbus. He's an easy mover and great at the point of the attack. 50, Chiefs taking Cameron Thomas, edge out of San Diego State University. He features an outstanding get-off and a quick twitch as an athlete. He has powerful hands, good enough football IQ. He looked good on that defense for San Diego State this year that absolutely dominated. Solid prospect with some real potential. 51, the Eagles taking Lewis Sine, the safety out of Georgia. Sine is a technically talented player, very strong at safety, but he can also play special teams. He's best known for his hitting ability. He can lay out a hit, aggressive on run defense. He is one of the strongest hitters in this class, violent tackler with great football IQ. 52, the Steelers taking Rasheed Walker. Walker has plenty of experience and is a strong pass blocker. He can play either right or left tackle, but he's better on the right side. He has good balance and hand technique. His football IQ is top notch. He knows what he's doing on the field. He lacks a competitive toughness sometimes and seems to give up on plays a little easy, which they could be working on. But overall, great offensive line for a team that really needs the help in that department.
Number 53, the Packers. This would be a great pick for them. Travis Jones, strong hands, high motor, plays with energy. The ideal defensive tackle. I love Travis Jones. 54, Belichick, he's prone to overdrafting players, and I think this would be a really good pickup for them. He's a high riser here as of late, but he can make people miss with ease. Streaky pass catcher. I like Khalil Shakur to go inside the second round. Arizona at number 55. Sam, time edge rusher coming out of Ole Miss. He had a big rising season this past year under DJ Durkin. I think this would be a good for the Cardinals. Boys, Christian Harris is speedy, rangy, sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Why not continue? They already have a lot of talent, and this would do wonders for them if they can start off with the safety and the linebacker from Alabama. 57, the Bills, John Mechie. Not that torn ACL, but a lot of teams are going to overlook that, I think, and they're going to, look to bring Mechie back to his roots. He's from Canada. Good thing very well. He's very streaky downfield, plenty of speed. Put him in the slot, and I think this pretty nasty with Mechie here at 57.
At 58, I got the Falcons taking Jalen Petrie, the safety out of Baylor. The Falcons defense needs all types of help, and Petrie's a strong safety prospect and really helped that. He played multiple positions at Baylor, gives him a lot of versatility, got high football IQ, great tackler, has a really strong run defense, very talented player, can also play special teams if necessary. 59, the Packers, Najee Sanders, the edge out of Cincinnati. Sanders is a great first step in long arms. There are concerns about his weight. His weight reportedly has fluctuated about 30 pounds either way. The first step is great. He pushes off a nice burst. Sanders has good hands, but he struggles a little bit against the run. 60, the Buccaneers, Cole Strange, interior offensive line at UT Chattanooga. An experienced starter of UT Chattanooga, played for a long time, could develop into a star guard at the next level. He's a nasty blocker with a strong motor, great football IQ, potential to be a great left-sided player. 61, Tariq Woolen, cornerback at University of Texas San Antonio. Great athlete. Woolen is best suited as an outside corner. His best work is in man coverage. He's an aggressive tackler, but sometimes he gets a little too aggressive and misses a tackle here and there. It can be a downside. His football IQ needs some work as he's new to the position. He used to play wide receiver in high school. Needs to work a little bit on run defense as well, but again, that's just new to position. If they work on him in San Francisco, he could be a talented player. 62, the Chiefs taking Nick Benito, the linebacker at Oklahoma, a versatile edge player with a ton of flexibility. He has a great first step and is good with his hands on run defense. There are some questions about he lacks some strength at the top end. He understands the game really well, though, and he works hard, which makes up for that sort of lack of strength. He's committed to the game. He's never going to give up on a play. He has a great motor. In general, this would be a great pick for the Chiefs. They could really kind of slot him in. They don't really have that many needs, but they could work on Nick Benito. He could be a talented player.
Rounding out the second round, 2 tight ends, Trey McBride, great hands. They just lost C.J. Uzomah to New York. And then Denver getting Isaiah Likely. They also just lost a tight end, Noah Fant. They replaced him with a similar guy who's athletic, tall, can make plays downfield. Isaiah Likely at 64. And that's the first. Looking here, we're just going to go through and lightly touch on a handful of players. I'm not a fan in the first 2 rounds, but if Sam Howell's still here in the third, I think they have to pull the trigger, maybe look towards the future. I'm not saying that is a must, but I think this would be a good addition if you get him here in the third round. And then at 67, the Giants, they might be looking round if they have an early pick. But I think Desmond Ridder, another guy, great third-round value. All this far, but it depends who needs what, who's looking for you. 2 very solid quarterbacks at 66. How do you?
Yeah, so I like the idea of the Giants taking a quarterback at 67. Ridder has real potential to kind of develop. He's not going to have to play right away in New York. Ridder has great potential. I love what he can do with the ball. Sam Howell to Detroit is also an interesting pick. I'm not a fan of the Lions taking a quarterback either, but if Howell's there at 66, you might have to take him. Very talented quarterback, had a great career at North Carolina.
Yeah, some of my favorite picks in this draft, though, in the third round, rather, Perrion Winfrey to Seattle. This is a high upside player. He does a lot on the inside as a pass rusher. He doesn't give up on the plays. I think Winfrey to Seattle, they got to really beef up that roster. That'd be a good pick. 74, David Bell. Falling down a lot of boards because he doesn't have a lot of speed, but he can separate. He's got good fundamentals. I think 74 to Atlanta would be a very good pick. They need help at pass catcher. That would be a great. Looking down here on the board, though, you guys like Calvin Austin and James Cook. These would be my favorite 2 picks of the round if they happen. Dallas picking up a slot receiver. They can also play on special teams. And then James Cook, we just talked about it. Buffalo, they have the luxury of doing whatever they really want. I think getting a playmaker like James Cook, continue to just beef up an offense. It's already pretty scary. Him at 89 makes a lot of sense. He can win in a multitude of different ways. I think there's some really good players here in this third round.
Yeah, I look at my third round picks. The Jets are going defense heavy in the first couple rounds. In the third round, I got them going Jalen Tolbert, the wide receiver to South Alabama, at the 69th pick. I really like what he can do. Great route runner, has good hands, very solid wide receiver, 5th-year senior at South Alabama. Could add some experience to that locker room for the Jets. I look at Brian Cook, the safety out of Cincinnati, going to the Giants at 81. The Giants could use some help in safety. It's not the biggest need in the world, but you grab a guy like Cook, very solid player, good in zone coverage. I really like what he can do. Very physical player, got good football IQ. And I look at another player like Troy Anderson, a linebacker going to Detroit with the 97th pick, a guy coming out of Montana State University. Had a really good career there at Montana State, made a lot of plays, can also play special teams, kind of adds that variety to the defense. Very talented player, love his explosive tackling, good hitting power.
Yep, in 92 is actually Sam Williams. Quay Walker at 55 had a little bit of an error there, but that is the pick. Quay Walker at 55, and then Sam Williams at 92 to Green Bay. That's the third round. Brees Hall's also there, rounding out the third round. I think running back, the value is really not that high. It's an interesting class. It's not bad, but overall, who really needs him? I think you can get him later in this draft and get some really good value. So I think you're going to see a lot of great running backs fall and slip. Looking at round 4, pretty interesting draft class. A lot of very talented ball players come on day 3 here. Round 4, though, Alec Pierce, 110 to Baltimore. You already knew he was a great 50-50 ball. Then he ran a 4.41. I think his stock boosted tremendously. Baltimore, they need some help at pass catcher. They drafted a few last year, but I think they could still look to add some more talent. Pierce would be a great start in doing so. 114, Atlanta picking up another pass catcher in Justin Ross. Who has some injury concerns, but overall, he's a very talented pass catcher. That'd be a great start, I think, for Atlanta. And then 115, I really like Ed Ingram, a very nasty run blocker. He's always looking to clean up on plays, always active. 115, Ed Ingram, the day. Who are some of your favorites here in round 4?
Yeah, look at Brian Robinson Jr., the running back out of Alabama, fifth-year senior, waited his turn in Tuscaloosa, sat on the bench behind some great running backs, got some great experience last year, carried the load for the Tide, going to the Titans at 131. He'd be a great complimentary back to another Alabama alum, very talented player. And I look at D'Angelo Malone, the edge rusher out of Western Kentucky, a bit of an exciting prospect. People have been talking about a lot recently, this Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year in 2021, extremely disruptive off the edge, 88 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. I slot him going to the Ravens at 128. The Ravens fans would be happy to have him. Great pickup on day 3.
One of my favorite players in the draft, Rashad White, 135 to Kansas City. This would be a scary pick for other offenses. He's a very explosive runner. He fits very well, I think, in this Kansas City offense. Great route runner, phenomenal hands. One of the better dual threat backs in this class, kind of like James Cook. He's not as fast and as twitchy as Cook, but the skill set, and the skill set's very similar, and I think he does have better hands than him. 137. Carson Strong, they've been wanting to get a QB desperately. I think it's the wrong move to try. All the moves they've been trying to get a quarterback, I think right here, though, this might fix their issues. Carson Strong, not very mobile, but he can stand in the pocket. He can launch that thing. Probably has the best arm in the class. Carson Strong, 137. I think that'd be a very interesting pick. Overall, though, 4th round, I think there's some really good ball players in here. Guys like Letitia Smith going to Baltimore, Virginia Tech. I think they have 5 picks here in this 4. Some talent. You also have them getting Joshua Williams, corner out of Fayetteville State. And then Jacksonville kicks things off with Leo Chenal, phenomenal run stopper. And round 5, Carolina again gets a pick. Kellen Dysich going to Arizona State. Who are some of your favorite guys in this round, Nick? Because I really like Tyquan Thornton from Baylor going to New York. They're looking to move a handful of guys at pass catcher, and an upgrade than a guy who runs a 4.28 and Thornton at 147.
Yeah, I think Thornton would be a great fit for the Giants. A couple other guys I look at in round 5 that'd be great. Jalen Naylor, the wide receiver out of Michigan State, going to the Bears at 150. The Bears could use some help in the wide receiving group. It's been looking weak recently. He had a good career at Michigan State, 17 yards per catch average throughout his career with the Spartans. Very talented wide receiver. And I look at another Spartan as well, going a little bit later in this one, Kenneth Walker, the third, going to the Eagles at 166. Very talented back. Had a great year last year. Really burst onto the scene after he transferred to Wake Forest. Really versatile back. Love the speed with him. A very strong running back. Has the potential there. If he falls to 166, the Eagles get a really good pick. And I look at a guy that's a bit underrated in the offensive line is Nicholas Zaleki, the 4-year starter at Fordham, going to the Bengals at 174. Very talented player. I like the film, the very small amount of film. It's very good. He's a firm anchor in pass protection, great hand technique, and could be a really nice pickup for the Bengals. They could use some offensive line help protect Joe Burrow, who got smacked around last year.
Yeah, some interesting picks. Philadelphia, they have a lot of them. Getting Kenneth Walker at 166, great value. Prospect, but again, the running back value, a lot of these guys are going to slip, but that's overall a very good player. They do have a pretty loaded backfield, but I think, if you can, why not? And, there's been talks about Philly getting a quarterback. 162, Bailey Zappi, not a bad option here. Strong fundamentals. Doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's got very good accuracy. Smart football player. Settle here. And then offense. I think that'd be a really good pickup for them. Percy Butler at 151 to Atlanta, one of the more underrated players, I think, in the late part of this draft. He's physical, great run defender. So, they're obviously going to get some help in the box immediately with Butler. He's also got great speed, which means he could be on special teams making plays. I think there's here in round 5. And then, of course, you have one of the best punters that probably, Grazia going to Los Angeles from San Diego State. I think that'd be a really good addition here in the 5th round for the Rams. Looking at round number 6, JT Woods to Jacksonville. Then you got Mike Rose, a guy who's really good in coverage. He's got some good ball skills in Detroit. Smoke Monday at 182, continuing to get the defense for the another great value pick. This would probably be the best value pick of the draft. 183, Jerome Ford, running back, Cincinnati. They don't really, Houston, they have a pretty solid one that gives you hope for the long-term future. I think Ford, speedy breakaway runner. He's tough to bring down. He could be a great value pick here. I think he'd be a great fantasy option early on in the year if he ends up going to Houston. They'll find a way to get him involved. Also look at Atlanta getting 2 running. He is a explosive guy, but he's more of a ground and pound aggressive back half of the round. Also, of Atlanta picking up Pierre Strong, a complete speedster. I think this backfield, they need one bit. The future is not bright on a lot of positional groups for this roster. Running back, one of them round 6 here. If you can get Pierce and Strong, a ground and pound runner, then a complete speedster, and the South Dakota State product, Atlanta's sitting pretty running backs. Who are some of your favorite guys here in this round?
Yeah, so I look at round 6. I like Slade Bolden potentially going to New England, the wide receiver at Alabama. Had worked with Mac Jones during the national championship season in 2020. Decent career at Alabama, a bit disappointing at times. Could be an interesting wide receiver, sort of a backup. I look at a guy like Cameron Dicker, the kicker, going to Jacksonville. They could use some help in the kicker. And Dicker, he was 86.7 field goal percentage last year with the Longhorns. Had a good career with them and a bit of a Longhorn legend. Would be a great pickup for them. 98% on extra points in his college career. Very solid kicker. I think there's some potential here in the 6th round. You get some really good value guys, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some talented running backs go off the board.
Yeah, going to Pittsburgh, Damari Mathis. This is a guy who's got it would be a phenomenal pick for them because he's physical, he's got good timing, a very good tackler, a nice corner in zone. I think this would be another great 6th round pick. A handful of guys you see on here would probably go a little earlier, and they probably will. But right now, I see that right now for them. Looking later in the round, though, Isaiah Spiller falling down to 214, bottom half of the 6th round. Again, running back's just an interesting position this year. Chargers don't really need one, but he's a guy you can use in short yardage situations. Could be a nice complement to that offense. And then Christopher Allen from Alabama, Luke Tentna from Virginia Tech, rounding things out in round 6 for San Francisco. Bo Melton, another interesting option. Go on to Arizona, he's a speedster. New England and Houston did just make a trade recently for some late round picks, so I think a few of these might be off. I haven't looked at the details of the trade, but not too much to really worry about. Moving to the final round of the draft, Leon O'Neal, 224 at Miami, a very aggressive Dolphins. I think it'd be a pretty solid pick. Vadarian Lowe, he's a guy that's probably going to go higher than this, but if Pittsburgh can get him in round 7, that'd be a great addition from Illinois. Most people have him as a top 200, top 150 prospect. They really need Pittsburgh, they really need to beef up that offensive line and their defensive line, really, but there's not much to go around in this draft, so get them where you can. I think Lowe at 225 is really good. Who are some of your favorite players in round 7?
Yeah, I got 3 players I want to highlight from round 7. The first one's Elias Brooks going to the Lions at 234. Very talented linebacker at Penn State, stepped up in the absence of Micah Parsons. Had a good season there, a bit questionable at time. He was only a first-year starter, so the experience definitely lacks. And I look at Miami. I look at the safety out of Miami going to the Bengals at 252, Bubba Bolden. Bit of an intriguing prospect, kind of falling down people's boards. A former 4-star recruit out of high school. Good football IQ, above average tackler, solid player. Falls a lot due to some messy ball skills and in general just not the best against the run. And he sort of lacks that sort of desire on the field. And the last player I want to look at is going to the Dolphins at 247, Jack Cohn, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. Really stepped up this year. Had a really good season in South Bend. Really raised a potential draft stock. Good quarterback, throw him in as a backup, 3rd-string kind of guy. Room to grow there. Very talented quarterback, and ball security has been a lot better for him recently. Looks really good on the field. Good player, and in general, the Dolphins can afford to take a quarterback here in the late round and sort of have someone in the back waiting to see if they need him.
Speaking of quarterbacks, 240 Washington, I think it's a great opportunity to grab a guy because their future is kind of gloomy. They also made an aggressive push and got Carson Wentz. This would be a good pick here in the 7th round. Good arm talent. He's pretty good in the pocket. I think it's definitely worth the pick at 240. And Jeffrey Gunter, a little down further on the board at 253 from Coastal Carolina. Nice upper body strength. He can stunt and be twitchy. And this defense is already loaded, so you can get a guy that plays a role that can be an asset on blitzes. I think it's a lot of work to do, though. He needs a short fundamentals, get better versus the run. I think it's going to be a very good rotational piece, especially for the Rams. Getting Britton Covey is because he can play a special teams role. He can get on. They love to use those screens. He can get involved on those. I think this would be a very solid 7th round for LA if they can end up with those draft selections. Looking at the bottom here, we do have Mr. Irrelevant being Juwan Thomas, safety out of Georgia Tech to San Francisco. I think Max Borghi at 257. This would be a very interesting pick for them. A typical Cliff Kingsbury type of player, you think. You get it to him out of the backfield. He's a slice and dice type of runner. Great hands, though. He caught Washington State. I think he'd be kind of groomed for what? Overall, what are your thoughts on draft?
There's a lot of talent in this draft. It's a bit of a weaker draft than some years, and definitely towards the top. Some teams are interested in trading out, but in general, some teams with a lot of draft picks. Look at the Ravens, look at the Eagles. These teams have a ton of picks. They can really bulk up their rosters. Look at the Colts. Taking a quarterback early on. We said with Kenny Pickett, I think that's a really good pick for them because they have a strong roster. They don't really have a whole lot of needs. They get a guy like Pickett who kind of develop and be a star. I look at the Giants as well. A lot of picks for them that I think would be really interesting. Smoke Monday would be a great option. They can get him late in the draft. And in general, this draft, a lot of talent here towards the bottom. A lot of guys that can make some impacts in the NFL.
I agree. Very excited for what this weekend holds. A lot of in recent years, there's a lot of future playmakers here, and still makes it all that more. It's been a fun draft season. Appreciate you joining me as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for the draft.
That's gonna be it, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. See you next time.